Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 race description, and today's race is the Gitzeri. So we are going to be talking about everything there is to know about the Gitzeri. We're going to talk about how to play them. What kind of people are they? We're going to be talking about the ways that you as a player character, if you choose to play as a Gitzeri, are going to be interacting with other party members as well as other people in general. We're talking about the stats and statistics so that you can actually make a decent build with the Gitzeri. We're going to be covering all of that. So definitely check that out. If you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe so you can catch all these videos. We are going to be doing one of these eventually on every single race in D&D 3.5. Not just the races, though, but also the classes and the prestige classes. And if we get around to it, maybe some other stuff, too. We've also got all sorts of other D&D related stuff, as well as some other stuff as well. So definitely going to want to check that out. So let's get into the Gitzeri. So the Gitzeri, they are, well, they're an interesting race. They are very much related to the Githyanki, which is a very evil race. But these guys aren't. These guys are neutral, very, very heavily neutral. They strongly lean towards that. Because they're not evil, but they're not good either by no stretch of the imagination. They see someone suffering, they're like, well, not tough enough to take care of himself. But they're not going to actively cause that suffering. They're just going to kind of sit back and let things happen. They're doing their thing. They let let everything else do its thing. That's kind of their philosophy on life. They don't really bother much with the creatures on the material plane, unlike the Githyanki, who do everything. Who try and enslave us if they can. The Gitzeri, no, they chill. They just kind of ignore the material plane. However, if they do see somebody who is showing particularly good discipline, they will take notice of that, and they will give them the respect they've earned. They're very much on earning what you get. They don't believe that anyone's entitled to anything. Everything you get is earned. You get it because you deserve it, because you did something to get it. It's always about that. So that's kind of how they're going to act when, if you see an NPC, that's kind of what you could expect. That if you're playing as a Gitzeri, you're going to want to treat other people like, you're just going to treat them by their merit only. You're not going to really assume anything based on anything. You're just going to really focus in on the merit. You may make some generalizations ahead of time, like, may or may not make some generalizations that, maybe they're from the material plane, they're just a human, not worth my time. But if they show you they're wrong, you're absolutely going to acknowledge that and be like, oh yeah, you're actually pretty good. And by good, I don't mean good. I mean like they do well. Like, oh yes, you are a powerful monk. You deserve this. I say monk because that is their favorite class, actually. In terms of physical description, they look a lot like the Githyanki. They're very tall, lengthy. Got some pictures on there. If you, that's them there towards the middle right. Anyways, that's kind of what they look like. On top of that, they, like I said, and the one next to them that looked really similar, that's the Githyanki. Like I say, they look a lot alike. They're very tall, lanky, that kind of appearance. They actually live in the plane of limbo normally, so that's interesting, which is kind of strange considering they are seeing as that's the chaotic plane, and they're often lawful because monk, but yeah, it's kind of a weird dichotomy. These guys also come from, the same. They actually were the same race as the Githyanki once upon a time, and they were actually enslaved by mind flayers. So they hate mind flayers. They hate the Githyanki as well. because those guys are just evil, and they actually are constantly going to try and stop both the plots of both the Githyanki and the Mind Flayers. Now, in terms of religion, they don't really have one. They worship a supreme wizard that's kind of like a god, but not really. They don't really have clans. They just have first names and titles. And they make great adventures. Like, these guys are just naturally built to, because they believe in the inner journey, and they see the physical journey as an extension, as a metaphor for that. So they are very much willing to go on adventures. Like, it's part of their DNA, really. So now let's get into the nitty gritty, facts, statistics, all that fun stuff. So +6 dex, nice. +2 wisdom, pretty good. -2 intelligence, not the worst. Medium size, pretty basic. Baseline speed of 30. Again, nothing too fancy. It's pretty standard. Not good, not bad. Dark vision, 60 feet. That's pretty nice, especially at lower levels. At higher levels, there's ways of gaining it, but this is getting that. It's really nice, especially at early levels. Naturally psionic, they basically just get 2 power points, which can be used for a number of things. They get a number of psi-like abilities. So let's talk about these for a sec, because these are interesting. So they get internal armor, which will scale since it's a psi-like ability with level, and you can get some pretty good armor bonus with that. So, and that will stack with a monk's. So since it's not actual armor, so this is really nice. You also get psionic daze, catfall. Catfalls, you already get slow fall as a monk, so this is better in certain situations. So it's good and bad. It's also only 3 times per day, whereas the monk can do slow fall at whenever he's near a wall and falling. They also get concussion, which from everything I've seen, isn't a thing. So most likely it's concussive blast, which is a very nice spell. Lots of power, lots of versatility to it. Yeah. Now they also get and their manifestor level is equal to half their hit dice, so not bad. Power resistance. So they get power resistance HD +5, which is okay. It's not great, not bad. It's kind of average. It means that a manifestor of the same level will have about a 25% chance of failing against you. There's any power that's susceptible to power resistance will fail, which is, it's okay. That's a solid percentage. It's not great. It's not bad. It's okay. So yeah. Now this one brings me that I'll get into this here in a second in terms of when we go over potential builds. So automatic languages, common and Gith. Okay. Common's nice. Gith's just the racial one. That won't come up a ton probably, unless your DM really leans into it and starts like throwing Githyanki at you, which would be cool if they did. So bonus languages: Abyssal, Celestial, Draconic, Slad, and Undercommon. Yeah, Slad's also a race that they really do not like, although less so than the other two, less so than Githyanki and Mind Flayers. Now, favorite class, Monk, and level adjustment 2. So the level adjustment's a little high, but with a total of +6 stats, that's not terrible, because +6 stats are pretty nice. So that's not bad. Plus, there are ways to buy it off later, so that's pretty good. And you also get like all these powers, so you can really get a nice character. Now, the way you want to build it, I'd say it really depends on whether how your DM answers the question of, is psionics magic? If your DM plays by the rules that psionics and magic are the same thing, which is a perfectly valid one, the book actually leaves it up to the DM which one to go with. They do separate the two, but they do completely leave it up to the DM whether to just ignore the separation. And if your DM says that they are not the same, then it would be a good idea, I believe, to go pure monk with these guys, because you're going to get the spell resistance of the monk, which is, 10 plus level once you eventually get it, which won't be till higher levels, but still, that's good spell resistance. And then you're also going to have your power resistance, and they will both work together to kind of make it so that whether someone's hitting you with a spell or a power, it's probably not, there's a decent chance it won't get through, and you'll be protected against both. So they'll sort of stack in the sense that they're both protecting you against different things. Now, if your DM goes the other route and says that psionics are magic, there's less reason to go with a full-on monk, and you might be better off just dipping your toes into the monk class. Just take a couple levels and then go into another build that that could be beneficial. So there's definitely ways to do it, because monks are. I like monks, but I know a lot of people say monks you don't want more than a couple levels. It really depends on who you ask. Got a video that will be coming out eventually about that. Look forward to that. It's going to be a little bit though. Anyways, so the Gitzeri. Now, these Gitzeri, it's not bad. Like, I really think that it depends on that, because if you go and get the monks, if you go straight into monk with this, and psionics and magic are the same according to your DM, then they won't stack at all. Then your power resistance is basically meaningless because you get something better from monk, and that's just all there is to it. But if that's not the case, if they are separate, then these will apply to different things, and they will both apply. They won't technically stack, but they'll both actively work against different things, and your power resistance won't just be canceled out by the monk spell resistance. So that's good, which is why I think it'd be better to go with a multi-class where you go for a different build, but just throw a couple levels of monk to kind of buff it up. This race actually pretty solid in all reality. It's one of the better ones out there. So yeah. And I am going from the Expanded Psionics Handbook in case anyone was curious about that. So that's what I have on this. I'm curious what you guys think, though. So if you guys have any thoughts on the Gitzeri, leave that in the comments below, because I love hearing from you guys. And I am trying to make a point to, for at least as long as I can, replying to all my comments. I can't promise I'll do this forever, and if I go on hiatus, it might be a little while, but I will do what I can to try and reply to every comment that I get. Yeah. And on top of that, so that's really all I have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. As I said, subscribe and share the video. But anyways, as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you.